slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever.
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's video is basically an overview of the 2024 Philadelphia Marathon. I know a lot of you thought I was running the Valencia Marathon, and that was the plan originally, but back in around September timeframe, I decided that the length of the flight, the travel time all the way over to Valencia was just going to be too much. And I chose to run the Philadelphia Marathon instead. Definitely did not go as planned. Did not go the way I wanted it. I was basically falling apart after around 7 miles. I've been dealing with tight hamstrings, both my right hamstring and my left hamstring, and I've had to get dry needling done on those several times in the past few months. And although it does definitely work, I always recommend it. My right hamstring tightened up on me around mile 7 in the race, and then it got to a point where it was really painful and extremely tight, and my left hip flexor also tightened up on me at just past mile 7, and I was able to get through 16 and a half miles, decided to call it a day then. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, of course, I wanted to run the 2:42 or faster time, and who doesn't like to succeed? You know, none of us like to fail. None of us like to, miss the goal that we were aiming for. And of course, I've had a lot of successes in the sport of middle to long distance running. It's rare that I DNF. I think I've had 2 DNFs or 3 DNFs in my entire career, and it's not a good feeling, of course. But yeah, it was tough today. I mean, the course itself was great. It reminded me, at least the first 16 and a half miles, it did remind me a little bit of Sim, because there were flat sections. The crowd support is insane in Philadelphia, so definitely I highly recommend, if you're wanting to race a competitive race, and to have that support, Philadelphia is a great marathon to do it at. Weather was perfect. It was pretty windy yesterday. I was kind of concerned about that. It was really windy during the half marathon, and today, it was about 48 degrees at the start. Calm, for the most part, calm. Very light winds. I mean, it was just very light. Hardly noticeable. And so today was definitely the perfect day to do it. But I've had races in the past that went well, and I've had races in the past that didn't go the way I wanted. And in this case, when your body shuts down in the race, or you tighten up, or you get to a point where your hip flexors are so fatigued that you can barely lift your quads to make a stride, there's really little you can do at that point. And so we learn we learn the most when we fail. We don't learn as much when we succeed. Of course, you still learn a great deal even in successes, but in the failures, it's tough. It's tough. But again, I knew this was an experiment going into this whole training block anyways. The training block itself went really well. Tapered down correctly, had some really solid workouts, and so I can't really say any of the buildup itself went bad. Again, I think probably a mistake on my part, probably if anything, was the fact that I wasn't really doing a lot of strength training. I don't necessarily know if even the strength training may have helped more. Because again, I'm not racing marathons. I debuted when I was 25, ran my PR when I was 31, ran my last marathon prior to today when I was 37 and ran 2:32. So I think really in this event, I mean, yeah, there are runners out there, and you're probably one of them that's watching this video, that maybe you're in your mid to late 40s or even 50s, and you're still running under 3 hours. You're still running very competitive times. My hat's off to you. I salute you, because I think that this event is much easier. I mean, it's a difficult event to race, but it's much easier to train and race when you're in your 20s and 30s versus in your 40s and 50s. And again, as I mentioned in the past, there's no guarantees in the marathon. Sometimes everything go perfectly right, and you miss the target. And there's days where you're 100% on, and everything goes right. And of course, those are the days that are wonderful. Those are the days when you share with other people. Of course, the failures and the failures when you don't race as fast as you want, or if you DNF. It's not it's tough, but I mean, some of the world's top runners, including world record holders, example as Eliud Kipchoge DNF. It's not a good feeling. But again, when you're in the marathon, and if you've never ran a marathon and your body shuts down, either both a combination of dehydration, or if you get cramps, or if you get if your hip flexors, in my case today, if those go out, or those become so fatigued that you can't even lift your legs to do a stride, it's a long way to go. If you're at 15, 16 miles or 16 and a half miles like I was today, and knowing that I still had almost 10 miles to go, that's a long way to finish. When it's so bad that you can't even finish a race, then there are times where you have to be smart. You have to think about your health. You have to think about, hey, this is just a race. Even though an important race, my health's more important. And knowing that sometimes you're just not going to be on. And that's why I always tell the athletes I coach in my past videos, I always talk about both successes and failures. What do you do when you fail? And how can you get stronger and make those adjustments? Whether in this case, maybe I needed to do more strength training. Those are some things that you can take away and be a better athlete. I think at this point in my career, really, I've done as I knew going in, there was never really a guarantee I was going to run that fast of a time at 48 years old. I practically have done everything in the sport that I wanted to do. I knew this was going to be just a fun experience to see if I could get out there and do it again. And I'm glad to have at least got through my training block healthy, got to the race without having a cold or any major issues. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys an overview. Of course, the race itself was phenomenal. I highly recommend coming to Philadelphia and running the Philadelphia Marathon. I thought the staff and the race organization was phenomenal. They had just porta johns everywhere. They had a warming tent. I got there. I got up at 4:30. Race started at 7 a.m. Actually, about 10 minutes past 7 a.m. because they were still waiting on the police, the Philadelphia Metro Police, to clear the roads to make sure everything was good to go. So we actually started around 7:10, and for the 16, and I was at, and again I was slowing badly. I mean, I was on pace for about the first 6 or 7 miles. And then I got to 10 miles. It was like 65:30. And again, I continuing to, I felt it tightening up on mile 7, felt it again, got a little worse at mile 10, and then it just continued to tighten up throughout the going through the half marathon, which I think was 1:27:25, something like that. And then I don't know where I was at 16 and a half miles, but I do know right when I was passing 16 miles, the 3-hour marathon group just passed me right past that point. And again, I just continue to slow down. I think my average for the 16 and a half miles was 6:46 mile pace, so way off. And again, it was it was a solid effort overall. But again, I got to the point where I couldn't even lift my legs. So the smartest thing for me today to do was to step off and live to fight another day in regards to racing. I think overall, though, I think at this point, more than likely, I'll probably just do as I was doing before, and just jog for fitness, hike, spend time with my family, and enjoy it. And obviously, continue to coach, continue to make videos to help other runners surpass what they want to do. I think has been more rewarding for me than racing or even getting into great shape. Of course, I had some great workouts, had some solid volume throughout this build-up, and so there's no shame in that. At least I gave it a shot. So I think it's important to get out there and at least get out to the battlefield and give it a shot, rather than just be if you have the ability and you have the want and the desire to do it, to go out and race rather than being a spectator. If and only if you have that desire. There's nothing wrong with being a spectator. But the course, like I said, I'd say about the first six miles were relatively flat. It did start to get some pretty substantial hills out past around mile 8. We went into this park, and there were more hills out there, pretty sharp hills too, pretty demanding hills. But then you had the downhills, so that was really nice as well. But the downhill sections, even though that's like where I've always been a very strong downhill runner, that's where my hamstring was really tightening up, and getting worse when we were going the downhill sections. And but course itself, I think the winner ran 2:16. The first, I think the top 3 guys ran 2:16. Fourth was 2:20. Top female ran 2:32. I think second was 2:33, and it was like 2:35. So, of course, respect to the men and women out there, and there were some very fast women out there running as well, for completing the race and getting through it. Yeah, I wanted to share an overview of why I chose not to run Valencia instead of Philadelphia. It only took me about an hour and a half flight to get here. Versus if I would have flew all the way over to Valencia, not only would I have been dealing with the jet lag, but also potentially had this same issue happen. That would be a very long flight over and a very long flight back. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I want to thank all of you for your support throughout this build-up, all of your comments, all of the encouragement that you've given me for getting out there and putting in the work. Hope that you've enjoyed as well me sharing some of the workouts I was doing. Hopefully those will help you, and especially those of you that are maybe in your 20s or in your 30s. Again, this event I think is best. I ran my best when I was 31. I ran 2:19:35 when I was 31, and I still to this day can't believe I held 5:19 pace for 26 miles. I think if I ran flat out right now, I could probably only hold that for maybe just a few miles. And again, it's a big difference racing at 31 when you're very fit, and obviously even if you're very fit in your 40s, to duplicate that type of effort, it's very hard to do. And I think it would have been very hard still to hold 6:11 mile pace for 26.2 miles. Sub 2:42 as a 48-year-old is a big ask. And there are plenty, there are men and women out there that can do it. So it's not like it's impossible. And a lot of you, I think, will probably be asking or maybe leaving comments that'll be like, well, what do you think if you would have done this, would have worked? And again, it's a big mystery. This event is not a 1500. It's not a 5K on the track. It's not a cross country race. The marathon is very complex. You have to pay attention to nutrition. Plenty of things have to go right. Again, the older you get, the more difficult this event's going to be. Not to say you won't succeed at it, because there are plenty of other athletes out there that do. And I know a lot of the athletes that leave comments on my videos. Some of you are in your 50s. Some of you are in your 40s, running very strong times. So you all are examples of what can be done. If you can prioritize your time and stay healthy, and preferably and hopefully not deal with any type of tightening and cramps in a race, or dealing with any type of injury or tightness that's going to cause you not to be able to finish the race. I think today too, overall the pacing, I did not go out anywhere near too fast, so the pacing was correct. I do know, I was right around goal pace, 6:11 pace, for like 5 or 6 miles. I mean, it wasn't very far, but again, it wasn't like I went out in improper pace. I didn't go out in like the 5:20s or 5:30s, and I think the same situation would have happened. Again, this is it's an issue I've had for a while now. So sometimes you can, as I say in other videos, you can do everything right in this event and still it won't work out. But if you're younger, even if you're older and you still enjoy racing, you still want to get out and compete in road races or track and field events, I highly support you. I highly respect you for doing this, especially if you're in your late 30s or 40s or 50s and still doing it. Even when I ran 232 when I was 37, I mean, it was getting harder then. It was getting harder, and that was part of the reason why I chose to kind of step off from competing when I was 37 after the 2013 California National Marathon, because I did notice some differences in my workouts. I couldn't quite turn over as quick as when I was 31, and definitely in this build up I did more work, more anaerobic work for longer runs, but the speed, the track workouts were nowhere near as quick as what I was doing when I was in my late 20s and early to mid 30s. So there are differences. Again, and when you enjoy what you're doing, as long as you enjoy this, as long as you love the sport, and you want to continue to compete, then definitely keep doing it. In my case, I'm a businessman. I love helping others build their fitness and surpass their fitness goals. That's something that has inspired me to just maintain my own fitness and to get out there and do it at least one more time, give it a shot. And whether it went right or whether it went wrong, I would probably, even if everything went perfect today, there was only one other race that I would have ran. I would have ran the 2025 New York City Marathon, and that was it. I mean, I had zero interest in racing after that event. So, and my plan B, obviously, if things didn't work out, was to end it, call it a day today, after today's race. If something went wrong in the race, which is what happened, or if I missed the time and I ran maybe like a 250 instead of a 241.59, and missed the world standard for Masters, then I would have called it anyways. So I'm happy with getting out there and experiencing a little bit of what you all deal with, the pain of doing tempo runs and doing time trials. It's no joke. It's tough. So you all that are watching these videos of mine, thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you bring to this sport. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your encouragement. Definitely appreciate that. And this channel wouldn't be able to grow without all of you. So thank you so much. And again, I wanted to just share with you all what happened today, and wish you all in your upcoming races success and health. And we'll talk to you all in the next video.